I never believed in second chances until the universe handed me one wrapped in my father's skin. That night in the Hamptons, after the lightning cracked the sky like God's own verdict, I woke up choking on cigar smoke and the weight of a Rolex that wasn't mine, staring into the mirror at the face that had haunted my nightmares for years, my dad's. And in that moment, my eyes locked on the frail old man in the guest room mirror across the hall, I knew the swap was permanent. No going back. Just me, Riley, trapped in Victor Hale's body, ready to burn his empire to the ground from the inside. The old man's body, mine now, in a twisted cosmic joke, slumped against the vanity, his gnarled hands trembling as he mouthed words I couldn't hear through the glass. "What the hell have you done?" But it wasn't accusation, it was terror. My father's voice, thin and reedy, spilling from lips I'd kissed goodnight as a kid. I laughed then, a deep, rumbling bark that echoed off the oak-paneled walls, because the irony was thicker than the fog rolling in from the Atlantic. I'd spent my life paying for his sins, and now I was him. And he was the ghost in my machine. Revenge isn't a dish served cold. It's a slow poison you force down their throat while they beg for mercy. I stepped over the threshold, my father's polished loafers silent on the Persian rug, and whispered, "Welcome to hell, Dad. I've got the keys." The Hamptons house was a mausoleum of bad decisions. All glass walls and marble floors that screamed old money trying too hard to forget where it came from. That storm hit like a freight train around midnight, the kind that rattles your bones and makes you question if the devil's knocking. Victor Hale, my father, the silver-tongued shark of Wall Street, had dragged us out there for family bonding, which was code for schmoozing investors over lobster rolls while Mom popped Xanax like candy. Grandpa Elias was there too, exiled from the city like some inconvenient relative you'd stuff in the attic. Dad had shipped him off to a retirement villa in Portugal 2 years back, claiming the old man had cleaned out the family trust. Millions vanished into thin air. Poof. Like a bad magic trick. But I knew better. Or at least, I'd started to suspect. I'd always been the fixer in the Hale family circus. At 28, I was the one mopping up Dad's messes. The SEC whispers about insider trading. The mistresses who showed up at board meetings with paternity suits. The way he'd scream at Mom until she locked herself in the wine cellar. Grandpa? He was the saint. The World War II vet who'd bootstrapped the Hale brokerage from a Brooklyn brownstone into a Fortune 500 beast. But after Grandma died, Dad turned on him like a rabid dog. The old fool's senile. He'd snarled at the family lawyer, forging documents that painted Elias as the thief. I saw the emails once. Hacked into Dad's laptop during a bender, transfers to offshore accounts. But not Grandpa's. Dad's. He'd framed the old man to cover his own gambling debts. Those high-stakes poker nights in Atlantic City where he'd lose fortunes on a single bluff. And me, I took the fall for it all. When the feds came sniffing, Dad pinned the creative accounting on me. His eager young VP. I did 6 months in a white-collar purgatory upstate, emerging with tattoos I didn't want and a parole officer who called me son like it meant something. Family loyalty. Right? That's what Dad preached from his yacht. Sipping Cristal while I scraped by in a Queen's walk-up. Blackballed from every firm in the tri-state. Grandpa's letters from Portugal were my lifeline, scribbled pleas for help. Tales of isolation in that sun-bleached hellhole, begging me to tell the truth. Riley boy. But I was too scared. Too broken. Until the storm. It started with an argument in the study. Thunder crashing like applause for our dysfunction. Dad was 3 whiskeys deep, waving that damn journal, Grandpa's war stories, leather-bound and dog-eared, like it was evidence in a trial. "This is why he's useless," he slurred, tossing it into the fireplace, filling her head with fairy tales about honor while he bleeds us dry. Mom hovered in the doorway, wringing her hands, her Botox face a mask of perpetual surprise. Grandpa, frail at 82, stood his ground by the mantel, his voice a gravelly rumble. "You know damn well what happened to that money, Victor. It was for the family, not your vices." I stepped in, as always. "Dad, enough." "He's not," but lightning forked outside, blinding white, and the power surged. A freak arc jumped from the outlet, some faulty wiring in that overpriced McMansion, and hit us both. Me and Dad, locked in that stare down, hands inches from the journal as flames licked its edges. Pain like fire ants in my veins. Then nothing. Blackness. When I came to, the room smelled of ozone and charred paper. My body weight. No. I tried to stand, but joints creaked like rusty hinges. Hands in front of my face. Spotted. Veined. Arthritic. Grandpa's hands. I bolted to the mirror, heart hammering. Elias Hale stared back, his watery blue eyes wide with my panic. And across the hall, in my old room, my own reflection grinned, my sharp jaw, my messy brown hair, but with Dad's smug curl to the lips. He was in me. I was in him. "What the fuck?" His voice boomed out, deep and commanding. The old man in the mirror flinched. No. That was me flinching. Dad stumbled into view, wearing my skin like a cheap suit, his eyes darting wild. "Riley?" "What?" "This isn't." He clawed at my face, nails raking stubble. Mom screamed from downstairs, the storm still raging. I grabbed his arm, my arm, and yanked him close. "Listen to me, you son of a bitch. This is payback. Whatever this is, fate. Curse. I don't care, I'm ending it. Your lies. Your empire. All of it." He laughed, a high-pitched bark that didn't suit my features. "You? In my body? You'll crumble. Boy. You always do." But I saw the fear. Good. By dawn, the power was back, and Mom chalked it up to storm delirium. We played along, me as Victor, barking orders over coffee, him as Riley, sullen and hungover. But inside, gears turned. I'd spent years hating this body, this life. Now it was mine to wield. First move, the jet to Lisbon. Business, I told Mom, kissing her cheek with lips that weren't mine. Dad, trapped in my broke-ass frame, couldn't stop me. He watched from the porch, fists clenched, as the chopper lifted off. Portugal was a sun-baked fever dream. All whitewashed walls and azulejo tiles hiding Grandpa's prison. The villa was a crumbling finca on the Algarve coast, staffed by underpaid locals who eyed me like the prodigal son returned. Elias's things were everywhere. Faded photos of Brooklyn stoops, a chessboard mid-game, letters for me yellowing in a drawer. I found the real records in a floor safe, bank statements Dad had overlooked, proving the fortune was funneled to shell companies for Victor's debts, not stolen. Grandpa hadn't touched a dime. He'd invested it in a trust for me, my future, before Dad's betrayal gutted it. That night, under a moon like a guilty witness, I wired funds from Dad's accounts, my accounts now, back to the trust. Million. rerouted clean. Then I called the family lawyer. Voice steady as steel. Elias Hale was innocent. Victor framed him. Get the papers ready.
Click.
The line went dead, but the bomb was ticking. Back in New York a week later, the boardroom at Hale Capital was a viper pit of suits and spreadsheets. I strode in as Victor, all swagger and scotch on my breath, slapping backs like old times. Gentlemen, we've got a rat. Gasps rippled as I projected the docs. Transfers. Forgeries. Dad's digital fingerprints. Your CEO's been cooking the books. I'm calling an emergency vote. They blinked at me, confused. Why would Victor out himself? But the evidence was ironclad, and panic spread like flu in flu season. Dad, in my body, burst in mid-meeting, wild-eyed, yelling, "He's lying. That's not." I cut him off with a raised hand, my father's authoritative palm. Security. 2 goons in cheap polyester hauled him out, his pleas echoing down the hall. Controversial? Hell yes. The board whispered about senility, about the prodigal son cracking under pressure. But I didn't care. This was just the appetizer. Nights blurred into a haze of power plays. I betted Dad's mistress, some Botox blonde named Kendra, in the penthouse. Not for the thrill, but to record her pillow talk confessions about his side hustles. Leaked to the Post. Hale airs wild nights amid scandal. Mom called. Voice cracking. Riley, what's happening to your father? I soothed her as Victor, promising it's all under control. Lies. Sweet as pie. But the swap gnawed at me. Mornings, I'd catch glimpses in the elevator mirrors. Grandpa's lined face staring back, eyes hollow. I'd flex fingers that weren't nimble, feel the ache in hips that had marched through Normandy.
Dad.
Slumming it in my old apartment. Sent rage-fueled texts. Give it back. You ungrateful shit. I'd reply from his phone. Feels good, doesn't it? Being invisible. The first real crack came at Thanksgiving. Family dinner in the Upper East Side brownstone. Turkey carved like a sacrifice. Mom fluttered, setting places for 5 ghosts. Dad showed, me showed, shaved and subdued. Parole officer's orders. We sat across the table, forks scraping china. Pass the gravy. Son, I said, voice dripping honey. His eyes, my eyes, burned. Under the table, his foot, my foot kicked hard. I smiled, grinding back until he winced. Then the doorbell. A courier with a manila envelope, Portuguese notary stamps, affidavits from Grandpa's staff. I opened it slow, savoring. Well. Looks like Elias is coming home. Mom gasped. Dad froze. Fork midway. The papers detailed the abandonment, how Victor had forged power of attorney, shipped the old man off with nothing but a suitcase and a lie. You bastard, Dad hissed.
Low.
I leaned in, whispering, that's rich. Coming from the man in the mirror. The table erupted. Mom sobbed into her napkin. Aunts clucked about family curses. I excused myself to the study, locking the door, and made the call to Interpol. Yes, regarding the Hale fraud. Victor Hale is your man.
Click.
The noose tightened. But revenge is a jealous lover. It demands everything. That night, alone in Dad's king bed, silk sheets cold as cash, I dreamed of lightning. Woke sweating, heart pounding. Was this justice or madness? The line blurred, but I pushed on. The board ousted Victor by dawn me, stepping down for health reasons. Stock plunged 15%.
Dad.
In my skin, tried to rally allies. But who trusts a junkie lookalike screaming conspiracy? Week 3. The feds raided the penthouse. I let them in, casual in robe and slippers, directing them to the safe. Take it all.
Boys.
I've got nothing to hide. Except everything. They carted out servers, ledgers, proof of embezzlement, money laundering through Portuguese proxies. Dad watched from the lobby, cuffed already. My face a mask of fury. You'll pay for this, Riley. I knelt. Eye level. I already did. 6 months for your sins. Now it's your turn. As they dragged him away, sirens wailing into the December chill, I felt the first twist of doubt. Grandpa's body was failing, chest pains, doctors muttering about stress. And Mom? She'd never look at Victor the same. But the truth was out. İlyas Hale. Innocent. Abandoned abroad for a fortune he never stole. The headline screamed it. Hale dynasty crumbles. CEO framed father for fortune. Yet as I signed the bailout papers in a midtown conference room, pen heavy in arthritic fingers, a call came. Unknown number. Mr. Hale, it's from Lisbon. Your grandfather. He's gone. Heart attack this morning. The line went dead. I dropped the phone, world tilting.
Gone?
But I was just bringing him home. The poison rose. Had I killed him with hope? Or was it always Dad's doing? Grief hits different when you're wearing someone else's skin. I flew commercial back to Portugal. First class was too ostentatious for the man I was becoming. The flight was a red-eye purgatory. Stale coffee and crying babies mocking my silence. Grandpa's death certificate burned in my pocket. Stamped official.
Cause. Cardiac arrest.
Brought on by excitement, the doctor had said over crackly line. Excitement. Like reuniting with the grandson who'd failed him for years was a thrill ride, not a lifeline. Lisbon greeted me with drizzle and doubt. The Tagus River sluggish under gray skies. The finca felt emptier. Staff murmuring condolences in broken English. I wandered the gardens, oleanders drooping like mourners, and found his favorite spot, a bench overlooking the sea, where waves chewed cliffs like old grudges. There, tucked under the seat, another letter.
To me.
Riley boy, if you're reading this, Victor's won again. But remember, blood ain't always thicker. Fight for what's right, even if it breaks you. I broke then, sobbing into sleeves that smelled of Dad's cologne, cigar, and ambition. Why now?
Why?
When I'd finally mustered the guts, the swap, the storm, it was supposed to be my weapon, not his elegy. Back in the States, Dad rotted in Rikers, awaiting trial.
But his ghost haunted me.
Lawyers circled, offering plea deals if Victor testified. I strung them along, playing the grieving patriarch, while I liquidated assets. Not for greed, for restitution. Trusts reformed, charities seeded with Hale blood money. Mom got the brownstone free and clear. Aunts, their shares. But power's addictive, and Dad's Rolodex was a drug. I betted Kendra again. This time for intel on his poker cronies, Vegas whales who'd bankrolled the fraud. One by one, I called them out, anonymous tips to the IRS, whispers at galas. Victor's going down, I'd say over caviar and champagne, watching empires teeter. Controversial? The tabloids ate it up. Disgraced tycoon's son turns Judas. Protests outside Hale HQ. Pickets with signs "Justice for Elias," and counter ones "Lock up the liar."
Me.
In the middle, puppeteering from shadows. Dad's trial loomed like a guillotine, set for Manhattan Federal Court. I prepped as the star witness, combing through evidence in a Tribeca loft I'd rented under a shell name.
Nights.
I'd stare at old photos, Grandpa hoisting me on Normandy's shoulders, Dad scowl at my college graduation. The swap let me see him clear, no filter of fear. He wasn't evil born, he was forged in it. Post-war, Grandpa built the firm on grit, Dad inherited polish, lost it to envy. The fortune? Grandpa's theft was a safety net for when Victor's bluffs failed. Dad couldn't stomach charity from a husband. A week out, the twist hit. Anonymous email. Encrypted. Attachments of scans. Yellowed docs from the 1940s. Grandpa's service records. Not just heroism, but a court-martial. Desertion charges. Dropped for extenuating circumstances. A hidden shame. During D-Day chaos, Elias had fled a skirmish, leaving buddies to the guns. Saved his skin. But the guilt? It ate him. Turned him to drink post-war. Dad knew, had dug it up years back. Used it as leverage. "Your hero's a coward," he taunted, forcing Grandpa's silence on the finances. My hands shook, unlocking the files. Was this the reversal? Grandpa not saint, but sinner? The email signed a friend, Kendra, a bored crony. I confronted her at a Soho lounge. Victor's growl low over jazz riffs. "Who sent it?" She smirked. Martini olive speared like a shiv. "Does it matter? Your old man's sturdy too." Victor always said Elias deserved the exile. Karma's a bitch. I left her there, storming into the night, rain mixing with tears. Brooklyn Bridge loomed, lights blurring. Jump?
No.
Fight dirtier. I leaked the court-martial to a friendly reporter, framed as Hale Patriarch's hidden valor, spinning desertion as PTSD. Predating the term. Public ate it. Sympathies surged. Dad painted the bully. But inside, doubt festered. Had I avenged a lie? Grandpa's letters rang hollow now, heroism a mask for cowardice. Trial day dawned crisp. Federal courthouse a fortress of marble and metal detectors. I testified in a charcoal suit that hung loose on Grandpa's frame. Voice steady. Victor Hale betrayed his father. His family. For greed. Exhibits flashed. Wires. Forgeries.
Dad.
In orange jumpsuit ill-fitting my build. Glared from the dock. His lawyer hammered. "The witness, Mr. Hale Sr. is senile. Unreliable."
Gasps.
I countered calm. "Test me. Ask about Normandy. Ask about the trust." The judge leaned in, eyes sharp. "Mr.
Hale."
The elder described D-Day. Trap sprung. I recited Grandpa's tales verbatim. Bunkers. Beaches. The fear that froze men. But slipped in the desertion. Owning it. I ran once. Saved to fight another day. Cowardice? Survival. Jury murmured. Dad's face, my face, crumbled. A cross-exam. His attorney pounced. "And the fortune? Your son stole it." I laughed. Deep and dark. Ask the banks. Verdict. Guilty on all counts, fraud. Elder abuse. Abandonment crossing into neglect. 20 years. Minimum. As bailiffs let him out.
He spat.
"You think this ends it?" The world's bigger than us. Riley. They'll come for you. Courtroom cleared. Flashbulbs popping. Mom clung to my arm, Grandpa's arm, whispering, "Proud of you, Dad." The words stung. Outside, protesters cheered. One sign read, "Truth over blood." But in the limo, alone, I popped Dad's nitro pills, chest tight. The swap was unyielding, no reversal in sight. Doctors said stress, but I knew Elias's heart, failing under Victor's sins. That night, gala at the Met, Hail, Redemption fundraiser. I schmoozed donors, toasting new beginnings, while Kendra sidled up, breath hot. Heard about the docs. Victor's ghost is chatty from jail. She slipped a USB, more files. I pocketed it, danced her dizzy on the marble floors. Later, in a courtroom tryst, she confessed Dad had paid her to dig dirt. Pre-swap. He knew Elias's secret. Used it to justify everything. USB decrypted in the loft, not just court-martial, but letters. Grandpa to Dad. Post-war. Son, I ran because I saw your mother's face in the shells. Fought for you. Not glory. Forgiveness offered. Rejected. The betrayal cut deeper. Grandpa had shouldered blame for Dad's weaknesses too, covering youthful indiscretions, DUIs, to keep the firm afloat. I burned the drive. Ashes in the Hudson at dawn. New York woke indifferent. Taxis honking. Steam rising from grates.
Me?
I was unraveling. Power plays turned paranoid, bored whispers of Victor's decline, SEC audits on my reforms. Mom suggested therapy. I nodded, popping more pills. Then the call. Prison chaplain. Dad wanted a visit. Rikers was hell's waiting room, concrete and despair. Guards barking like dogs. He sat across plexiglass, my youthful face gaunt, eyes hollow. Riley, he rasped. Receiver greasy. End this. Swap back. I know things about the storm. It wasn't random. My pulse spiked. What things? He leaned in, voice a whisper. Elias. He made a deal. Back in 44. With men who don't die. They cursed us. To teach a lesson. Madness. But his eyes, my eyes, held conviction. Visit the attic in the Hamptons house. Box marked Elias war. Read it. Then decide. I hung up, guards shuffling him away. Lie? Bait? The twist nod. What if Grandpa's cowardice hid darker secrets? Occult whispers in a family of atheists? Controversial didn't cover it. Back in the Hamptons, wind howled off the dunes. Attic dust motes danced in flashlight beam. The box, medals, photos, a leather pouch. Inside, yellowed parchment, Hebrew script, symbols like lightning bolts. A note in Grandpa's hand. Forgive me, Victor. I bargained for your life. Posty day. Storm was the sign. Bodies switched to balance scales. Riley pays for my run. Scales? The desertion wasn't flight. It was a pact. Grandpa traded his soul for Dad's safety, dooming the line to swaps. Revenge cycles. I was the vessel, suffering Dad's sins as proxy for Elias's. Thunder rumbled. Lightning flashed. I clutched the pouch, symbols glowing faint. Call it back? End the curse? Or wield it? Curses aren't fairy tales. They're family heirlooms, passed down wrapped in denial. That pouch burned my palm like guilt made flesh, symbols pulsing with each heartbeat. I drove back to the city in Dad's Bentley, radio droning traffic reports like white noise for the apocalypse. The Hamptons faded in the rearview, a monument to madness. But the words echoed. Riley pays for my run. Grandpa's pact, bargaining with shadows for Victor's life, had ricocheted through generations. My suffering? Not random fallout, but scripted atonement. The swap, the universe's collections agent, forcing the grandson to right the grandfather's wrong by dismantling the son's empire. I holed up in the Tribeca loft, windows blacked out, poring over the parchment with a magnifying glass and half a bottle of Glenfiddich. Google scholars spat theories, Kabbalah fragments, World War II occult rumors, soldiers invoking golems, trading fates in foxholes. Elias, the coward, hadn't run. He'd invoked. To save the boy he'd dreamed of. Post-shell-shock visions of a son lost to war. Poetic? Twisted as barbed wire.
And now,
Me in this failing shell. Dad and mine. Both puppets on spectral strings. The decision loomed, shatter the cycle or embrace it. Controversial didn't touch the debate raging in my skull, expose the superstition, risk ridicule, or weaponize it. Become the monster I hated. I chose fire. Burned the pouch in the loft sink. Flames dancing blue. Symbols curling to ash. Smoke alarm wailed. I silenced it with a broom. Coughing Dad's phlegm.
done.
Curse broken. Or so I lied to the mirror, Grandpa's mirror. Eyes pleading forgiveness. Morning brought clarity. Or its cruel cousin. Headlines: Hale scandal deepens. Elias Hale's wartime secrets expose. Kendra's doing. No doubt. Spinning the court-martial into clickbait. Protests swelled outside the courthouse. Now split. Free Victor from old money loyalists. Justice for Elias from blue-collar vets. Mom called. Voice frayed. Riley, Dad. What's this about desertion? Was it true? I soothed his Victor. War's gray.
Love.
He was brave in ways we can't judge. Hung up.
Gut twisting.
Lies layered like lacquer. Next move, dismantle the remnants. I met the board at Delmonico's. Steakhouse haze of cigar and conspiracy. Gentlemen, I boomed. Victor's timbre. Hale capital folds. Assets to a foundation. Elias Hale Legacy Fund. Elder care. Vet support. Forks paused midair. You're joking, one suit sputtered Jenkins. Dad's lapdog. I slid the dissolution papers across damask.
Sign.
Or join Victor in orange. They did. Grumbling about senility. By dessert. The empire was ash. Reborn as charity. Stock, vaporized. Dad's cronies howled, lawsuits incoming. But I'd lawyered up with the best, bleeding them dry in countersuits. Kendra waited in the coat room. Red dress like spilled wine. Bold move.
Beak.
But Victor says you're playing with fire. I pinned her to oak paneling. Breath hot. Tell him the fire's his. She laughed. Nails raking my grandpa's back. He wrote from jail. Says the curse rebounds. You'll see. I shoved her off. Storming into the night. Fifth Avenue glittered indifferent. Holiday lights mocking my unraveling. Riker's visit too. Dad looked worse. My frame whittled to bone. Bruises from yard politics. Read it, he croaked. I nodded.
Terse.
Burned it. His laugh hacked wet.
Fool.
It's in the blood now. Elias ran to summon them. Watchers, He called him. They demand balance. You think framing me settles it?
Nah.
The truth's uglier. He leaned close. Glass fogging. I didn't just frame him for money. After you hacked my laptop, went to prison, I confessed to Elias in Portugal. Mailed the journal. Begged forgiveness. He wrote back. Let the boy pay. He knew the swap was coming.
Rigged it somehow.
Sacrificed you to teach me. Bullshit. Or was it? Grandpa's letters replayed. Fight for what's right. Even if it breaks you. Break the sun? I slammed the receiver. Guards jumping. Liar. But doubt seated. Sprouting thorns. Back home, penthouse. Hollow now, Mom ambushed me. Victor.
Talk to me.
Riley's. Different. Distant. She clutched a photo. Us three. Pre-betrayal. Smiles plastic. I hugged her. Awkward in old bones. He's healing.
Ellen.
Give it time. She pulled back. Eyes searching. And you? Resigning. The fund, it's not you. Victor's charm faltered. Elias's weariness bled through. Maybe it's the man I should have been. She left. Perfume lingering like regret. Alone. I rifled Dad's desk. Hidden drawer. Another stash. Not cash, letters. From Grandpa. Post-exile. Victor. The fortune was yours to squander. I took the blame to spare Riley the knowledge. You're not the thief. I am.
War dit's?
Son. Paid with hail blood. Twist upon twist. Grandpa stole? No. The fortune was reparations. Hush money for the pact. Elias had siphoned firm funds decades back to pay the watchers, covering invocation costs. Dad discovered. Confronted. Elias confessed. Begged secrecy to protect the family myth. Victor. Pride wounded. Flipped it, framed the old man to reclaim control. Abandon him abroad as punishment. Cycle. Elias's sin birthed Victor's, which crushed me. I laughed.
Nah.
Into the void. The revenge? Built on mirrors. But too late to stop. The fund launched with fanfare, gala at Lincoln Center. Celebs toasting, hail redemption. I speechified as Victor. For fathers wronged, sons who rise. Applause thundered. Inside. Chest seized. Nitro under tongue. Bitter as betrayal. Post-gala. Kendra cornered me in a limo. Victor's suicide note slipped to me. Says, tell Riley. The storm takes two. She handed a napkin scribble. Coordinates. Rural Pennsylvania woods. Cult site? Occult bullshit. But he swore it's the source. Heart pounding, mine or Grandpa's. I drove north at dawn. Beamer eating miles. Woods thick as secrets. Dirt road to nowhere. The clearing, stone circle. Lightning-scarred oak. I paced. Pouch ashes in pocket, wait. I'd burned it, but felt its weight.
Chant?
No words came. Then thunder. Unbidden. Lightning cracked. Not at me, but the trees splintering. Revealing hollow. Another journal.
Fresh.
Grandpa's hand. Riley, if you come, know this. The pact was for Victor's life. But the price, a hail must die unbroken. Victor broke first, greed. You? Choose. Choose what? Storm swelled. Wind howling voices. I fled. Tire spinning mud. Back to the city slick with revelation.
Dad's suicide?
Bluff, he was alive. Scheming from stripes. But the journal?
Real.
The curse demanded a victim. Unbroken soul.
Was I?
Revenge had cracked me, decisions debatable, expose family skeletons, torch legacies, bed allies for dirt. Controversial hero or villain. Public lauded Victor Hale's turnaround. Insiders whispered senile purge. Climax brewed. SEC hearing. Me testifying on the fund's legitimacy. Podium under Klieg lights. Suits glaring. Mr. Hale, counsel probed. Your sudden philanthropy motive? I gripped edges. Knuckles white. Atonement. For sins not mine.
Gasps. Leak.
Kendra's smirk from the gallery. Then chaos. Doors burst. Feds swarming.
Victor Hale.
You're under arrest. Conspiracy to defraud.
Me.
The fund affront? No, Dad's doing. From jail. Framing his own frame-up. Cuffed before the bench. I laughed. Ask Riley. He's the key. Gallery erupted. Mom fainted. As they dragged me, Dad, my body strode in.
Grinning.
Paroled? Bribed? Told you. Old man. Blood's thicker. The reversal. He'd played me. Swap knowledge leveraged. Fed lies to allies. Twisted evidence. I was the fall guy now. Elias's body to Riker's. Handcuffs bite deeper when they're on Grandpa's wrists. Cold steel chafing skin thin as tissue. The squad car wailed through Midtown canyons. Horns parting like biblical seas. Feds in the front seat radioing. Hale Sr. Secured. I slumped against vinyl. Nitro bottle empty. Heart a jackhammer. Dad's coup. From cell to court. Puppeteering my downfall.
How?
Bribes to guards. Whispers to Jenkins. Bored weasel-eyed overlooked. The fund? Tainted from jump. Laundered through his old shells. I'd been so busy cursing the father. I missed the sun rising in his skin. Riker's intake was a dehumanizing ballet. Strip.
Delouse.
Orange that swam on Elias's frame. Cell block echoed with catcalls. Hey? Gramps. Need a walker? But I held chin high. Victor's swagger masking terror. Conjugal?
Nah.
Just concrete and regret. First night. Lights out. I scratched symbols on the wall with a smuggled nail. Watchers. Balance. Prayed to ghosts. Lawyers swarmed by morning. Dad's old firm. Now his again. Plea insanity. Mr.
Hale.
Senility defense. I spat. Fight it. They shrugged. Billing hours. Mom visited. Veiled like a widow. Pressing palms to glass. Victor? Riley said. It's you inside?
Tire straquet de rouge.
I'd underestimated her. Sharp as she was soft.
Hélène.
Listen, the swap.
Storm.
It's real. She nodded slow. Eyes widening. I knew. Felt it. The way you hold me. Like Elias. Relief cracked me. She promised bail. Private dicks to dig. But Dad moved fast. Press conference that afternoon, him in my suit. Hale and hearty. Decrying father's decline. Tragic. Alzheimer's.
Docs say.
The fund? A delusion. We're liquidating for victims. Cheers from cronies. Boos from protesters. Headline. Hale heir saves dynasty from mad patriarch. My revenge? Inverted. A punchline. Solitary was mercy. Time to plot. Smuggled phone from a guard. Kendra's touch. Text to allies. Vets from Grandpa's VFW post. Truth buried.
Day.
They did. Leaks on Dad's jail deals. Poker debts resurfacing. Public tide turned.
Slow boil.
Mom's PI struck gold. Recordings of Dad boasting in my body. Old man's crumbling. Perfect patsy. Bail hearing. Circus.
Judge.
A grizzled Irishman. Eyed me like yesterday's news. Mr. Hale, or whoever, evidence mounts against. My counsel countered. Psych eval. Proving lucidity. Twist. The doc was Grandpa's old cardiologist. Testifying stress-induced. Reversible. Granted. Out on 10 mil. Ankle monitor beeping like a bomb. First breath free. Central Park. November bite in air. Leaves crunching red. Mom waited on a bench. Thermos steaming. Riley, she breathed, hugging fierce. Elias's ghost in Victor's clothes. We schemed over coffee. Exposed the swap. Without sounding nuts. Proof, she said. The journal. Hamptons. Back there. Storm scars lingered. Charred study.
Attic bara.
But the oak splinter? Regrown. Hollow refilled. No journal. Dad's cleaners. Thorough. Despair clawed. But Mom unearthed a floorboard loose. Tape cassette. Labeled Elias Confession. Dusty player in the den word to life. Grandpa's voice crackling. If this plays, Victor's won the war. Lost the boy.
The pact.
I invoked for you.
Son. Seeing your death in the cards.
Watchers took my courage. Gave yours. But price. A Hale vessel breaks the chain. Riley's the key. Swap to force truth. Forgive me.
Click.
Tears hot. Mom clutched my hand. He loved fierce. Wrong way. We copied it. Mailed to a trusted reporter, NYT vet. Scandal hound. Anonymous source. Play it. Fallout. Front page. Hale Patriarch's deathbed tape. Occult secrets and family pact. Skeptics scoffed. Hoax. But believers rallied.
Occulte forum buzzing.
Dad denied. Lawyered up. But cracks showed. Stock dipped. Cronies bailed. Kendra called. Voice sly. Victor wants a meet. Neutral ground. Says endgame. The meet. Abandoned warehouse in Red Hook. Brooklyn fog. Off the Gowanus. I arrived in Dad's Jag. Mom's Beretta tucked ankle. Paranoid. But American. He waited. My body bulked on jail chow. Smirking under sodium lights. Pop. The word slithered. Riley's mine now. I growled. Victor's base. Give it back. He circled. Cat to mouse.
Can't.
But truce? Share the empire. Elias's curse, it's bullshit. He was crazy. Like you. Lies stank. I lunged. Old bones protesting. But adrenaline surged. Fists flew, his young.
Mine arthritic.
He pinned me to crates. Breath ragged. Admit it, you enjoyed the power. Betting Kendra. Torching lives. We're the same. Truth stung. I need free. Gun drawn, controversial as hell. But survival's gray. The tape. It's out. His eyes widened my eyes. You wouldn't. Clicked safety. Watch me. Sirens wailed distant. Set up? His or mine. We froze. Then bolted separate ways. Warehouse shadows swallowing us. Back in the Jag. Heart seizing. I drove blind. Hospital R. Congestive failure, doc said. Rest.
Or.
Mom at bedside. Holding vigil. Fight. Riley. For Elias. I nodded. Tubes snaking. But Dad's words echoed. Same.
Was I?
The climax brewed in recovery. NYT piece dropped. Tape transcribed. Public frenzy. Talk shows debating. Hail Hex. Fact or fiction? Protests morphed. Break the curse. With effigies of Victor burning. Dad holed up in the penthouse. Media siege. He called. Meet at the bridge. Midnight. End this. Brooklyn Bridge. Tollbooths, ghosts in mist. I walk the span. Cane clicking. Wind whipping coat. He appeared. Silhouette against skyline. Riley. No gun this time, raw. The truth, I demanded.
All. He sighed.
My voice weary. Elias confessed pre-exile. The pact? Real. He ran D-Day to bargain, saved me from a mortar. Swapped fates with a doomed GI. Watchers, entities.
Whatever, demanded Girly Tite. Async and fest.
Or a life. Grandpa paid with thefts. Small, at first. Then the fortune. Dad found out. Raged. Pay your own debts. Framed him to force confession public. Break the chain on his terms. Abandonment? Exile to starve the tithe. But you? I pressed. Why me? His shrug. You hacked me. Went down fighting my fight. Elias saw it, wrote me. Let him break the sin. Swap will force it. Storm was the trigger. I knew it had hit us. Reversal gutted. Grandpa orchestrated my suffering. Not as victim, but architect. To redeem the line through me. Dad wasn't sole villain, we all were. Thunder grumbled. Lightning flickered, not striking. Warning. Choose, he said. Shoot me, end as murderer. Or swap back, ritual in the journal copy I kept. He tossed a pouch, symbols intact. Heart raced, monitor beeped frantic from pocket.
How?
Chant at the Scar Oak. Storm calls it. I pocketed it. Turning. One more thing, Kendra. She's the watcher. Or their voice. Chose you for the fire in your veins. Madness. But as I drove away, bridge lights blurring. Decision crystallized. Revenge? Incomplete. The chain demanded more. Dawn broke bloody over the Atlantic. Hampton's horizon streaked like a bruise. I stood at the study's window. Pouch heavy in pocket. Elias's confession tape rewinding in the player. Mom slept upstairs. Exhausted from vigils, the world outside buzzed. Reporters at the gates. Demanding the real Victor Hale. But I was Riley. Ghost in grandfather's flesh. Facing the final act. Dad's offer. Swap back at the Oak. Chant the words. Break the chain. Or embrace it. Let the curse claim its due. Controversial to the core, sacrifice self for family, or damn them for truth. The drive to the woods was suicide silent. Radio off. Tires humming dirge. Pennsylvania, chill seeped through vents. Frost etching glass like runes. The clearing waited. Stones circled dusted snow. Oak's scar, a jagged mouth. I unpacked the pouch. Parchment. Symbols alive in morning light. Grandpa's note fluttered out. Riley, the unbroken hail. Forgive us. End it with love. Not hate. Love, the word mocked. Grandpa's secrets. My own weakness. Suffered prison for lies. Swapped for sins not mine. But the climax wasn't fists or trials. It was here, in dirt and doubt. I knelt, voice cracking, Elias's croak chanting Hebrew echoes. Wind rising chorus. Thunder rolled, clouds boiling black. Lightning danced, not striking, circling, tasting. Then pain, familiar fire ants in veins. Vision split, Dad's face overlaying mine, bodies blurring.
Now,
I yelled, or thought. The oak groaned, roots buckling earth. A figure emerged from mist. Kendra?
no.
Ethereal, cloaked in shadow, eyes like storm cores. Watcher, I breathed. It nodded, form shifting, glimpses of GIs. Hails passed. Balance, it intoned. Voice legion. Elias traded courage for life. Victor, greed for power. Riley choose, truth unbroken. Or chain eternal. Truth? The reversal crashed. All sins interconnected. Grandpa's pact saved Dad. Birthing his ambition, Dad's frame-up exiled Elias. Forging my rage, my revenge exposed all. But at cost, family fractured. Empire dust. Unbroken?
Hidden.
Not snapped, fought without murder. Loved despite hate. I choose. Release. Words tumbled. Not planned. Pouch ignited spontaneous. Ashes swirling vortex. Lightning struck true. Oak exploding.
But not me.
Warmth flooded. Bodies realigning. Snap. I gasped. Young lungs filling my skin. My hands. Vital. Across the clearing, Dad crumpled in Elias's form. Old eyes fluttering mine. The watcher faded. Mist burning gold. Chain broken. Price paid. Vessel changes.
Dav, no.
Grandpa's body coughed. Victor's soul settling uneasy. Riley.
Weak.
I rushed, cradling him. Elias's frailty mine once. It's over. He gripped, nails digging. The truth. I stole for you.
Boy.
To end it clean. Confession final. The fortune. Tithe complete with exile's isolation. Dad, now truly old, sobbed. Forgive. Sirens distant, cops? Reporters? We waited. Brothers in absurdity. Paramedics airlifted him to Philly General. I followed. Mom en route. Diagnosis. Stable, but frail. Hearts given notice. Days blurred. ICU beeps. Mom's prayers. Lawyers negotiating drop charges. Delirium. Mutual fraud. Discharge. Dad in a walker. Elias's gate. Checking into assisted living, irony's gift. No jail. The judge ruled. Community service, fund oversight. He nodded. Broken. Riley. Thanks. Hate lingered, but pity softened it. Debatable ending. Justice served. Or mercy misplaced. Back in New York. The penthouse sold. Fund seed. I moved to Brooklyn. Walk-up reclaimed. Job at a vet nonprofit. Mom visited Sundays.
Cooking pod ruast.
Toasting new hails. Dad wrote letters. Shaky script. Apologies. War stories borrowed from Elias. I replied sparse. Healing slow. 1 year on. Anniversary storm. I stood on the bridge. Rain sheeting.
No lightning.
Kendra? Vanished. Myth or minion? The Watcher? Silent. Public forgot. Scandal fodder for podcasts. Hail Hex merch on Etsy. But me? I carried the truth. Betrayal's web. woven by love's dark twin. Revenge, bittersweet, debatable, saved the family, lost the fortune, gained a ghost-free soul. Grandpa's grave in Portugal got flowers yearly me. Young again. Toasting unbroken. Dad visited too. Once. Walker scraping tiles. He be proud. Maybe. The chain?
Shattered.
But echoes linger. In mirrors, I see them all. Elias's eyes.
Victor's jaw.
American dream. Twisted. From ashes. Uneasy peace. Was it happy? Tragic? You decide. Blood's thicker than curses. But truth? It cuts deepest.